Hey guys, and welcome back to Live Sweet. I'm Olivia, and for today's Valentine's Day themed cookie, we're going to be making Love Letter Piñata Cookies. I really love making piñata cookies. You can put anything in the center, and I just love the surprise of it all. So let's get started.
So I'm going to start off the decorating portion of this video by showing everything I plan to use. So these are some heart sprinkles and my ever-present thingamajiggy. We're going to use the sprinkle mix, these three colors of food coloring markers, and I'm going to open one up and there's the nib on it. It's kind of a thicker one. We're going to use white icing, and it's a 15-second icing, so I can outline and then fill in at the same time if I want to, or I can just split it off if I want to. So these are the three cookie shapes we're going to need in order to make the letter. We have two full shapes and then one with the center cut out. So I'm going to set the one with the center cut out to the side, and I'm going to take these two and I'm going to set them up so you can see them, and then I'm going to begin with outlining the first cookie. And once again, this is a 15-second icing. I could have outlined the cookie and automatically gone back and filled it in, but instead I'm just going to outline, I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to fill it in. And sometimes I find that if you do that, it'll actually be, the icing will be puffier, and it can give you a really nice look. So I've finished piping the outline for the first cookie, so we're going to bring the second cookie over and begin outlining it. I'm going to fill in that one little spot that I missed. And there we go. Now we're going to get our thingamajiggy. You can use one, you can use a toothpick, you can use a scribe. We're just going to clean up that edge. Okay, after about 15 minutes, we're going to go back in, and now I'm going to fill in the rest of the cookie with icing. And once again, like I say in every video, I like to go around the edge first just to make sure that that edge is covered before everything starts drying, because sometimes your icing starts drying really, really fast. So we've got that first cookie filled in. We're going to go around, pop any air bubbles we see, make sure all the icing is to the edges, and just clean everything up. Now we're going to swap it out, and we're going to do the same thing to this cookie. We're going to start by filling in the edges. And except for drying time, this video is actually going to go as fast as I go when I'm decorating this single cookie, so you get an idea of how fast I'm going. So we're going to clean that up once again, make sure all the icing to the edges, pop all the air bubbles, and after we do that, we're going to set them aside. Now, for something like this, you're going to want to let it sit overnight, let it dry overnight, let it get harder, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use food coloring markers on them, and we want to make sure that the food coloring marker does not punch a hole in the cookie. But before we do that, we're going to take our white icing and take one of the cookies and we're going to outline the lines for an envelope. So it's just a simple triangle, and then add two more lines coming from the bottom corner to look like it comes from underneath. We're going to grab one of the red hearts that I showed you to start with, and we're going to put it over the flap, almost like a seal. Now another thing you can do, where I've outlined in white, you could actually outline and make your lines in black, and it kind of gives it more of a, I would say more like a cartoon feel to it instead of just more of a regular envelope, but I just went with a regular envelope this time. So now we've got that done, and I'm going to grab the other cookie, sit that down, and then we're going to start off by taking our black food coloring marker, and we're going to begin coloring. So this is the nib, like I said. It is a Wilton Food Writer marker, and it is the larger size. And so I'm going to start by filling in where you would put the return address. And I'm just going to make little squiggles to look like either just a line or where you would have written something in. You can totally fill it in with like to someone, and then where the actual address goes you can put from or somebody's name along that line, whatever you want to do. But I'm just leaving it as squiggles for this. Now I'm going to grab my blue marker. I'll show it to you again. There it is. That's what it looks like. And then I'm going to make the shape, the outside shape of a stamp, just that simple squiggle that goes around the edge when you pull a stamp off. I'm going to make that into a square. Last line. There we go. Now I'm going to grab my red. I'm going to take that and we're just going to make a heart in the center of the stamp. And we're going to fill that heart in, color it all in. And there we go. And I'll pick it up and I'll show you the cookie so you can get a better look at everything I've done. There we go. Like I said, you can fill in those lines to and from, or write whatever message you want to in the front. Now, this is me writing the note that's going to go inside. So I used a piece of parchment paper that I cut down to size, and then I used my red food coloring marker, and I'm going to just simply write a small message on there. You can use a longer piece of paper for a longer message if you want to. I was just doing something really quick and simple. And if you're using food coloring markers on parchment paper, you're going to want to do a test and make sure that your food coloring marker will dry to your parchment paper. Sometimes the parchment paper will repel the marker and you're just going to end up with a smudgy message. You can also test to see whether just letting it dry for a minute will work. Mine don't do that. They actually work really well together and I didn't have to worry about smudging. So now we're going to grab all 3 cookies, and I decided to take the bottom cookie that I'm showing you right now, and the one that has the stamp and the address on it, and I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm going to take the cookie with the cutout center and grab my white royal icing. I'm going to flip that cookie with the cutout on it, and I'm going to just go around the edges and put some icing. And this is going to act as our glue to hold everything together. Now we're just going to sit that on top. There we go, just press down lightly, you don't want to break anything. And now we can go and we can grab our little bowl of sprinkles. You have all different kinds in there, and we'll just fill up the center. Now you're going to have to kind of gauge for yourself how much room you have in there, and you can definitely work with it before you put the top cookie on to figure out exactly how much room you have and how much you want to put in. So I'm just putting some in, and then I'm going to grab my note. There it is. I'm going to fold it up, and then I'm going to put it in the center of the cookie. And I wanted to put more sprinkles on top, but they kind of kept falling off because it is parchment paper. It doesn't want to hold it. So I wound up, after fighting with it for a bit and trying to even things out, I wound up with parchment paper in there and then one sprinkle sitting on top of it. There we go. Just going to shake it to make sure there aren't any air pockets and everything is even. There we go. And now we're going to grab our white royal icing again, and we're going to go around the edges of the middle cookie. It's just easier to use the middle cookie than it is trying to eyeball the actual top or bottom of it. So now we'll grab, oh, I lost a sprinkle. Gotta get that off. Moving the sprinkle. Bye-bye, sprinkle. So we're just going to grab the top. We're going to sit it on top of that and press down on all the sides. Make sure it's glued really well. Now, I'm going to leave it at this point and let it dry. Some people will let it dry and they'll actually go around the edges and fill the edges in with royal icing to make sure you don't see anything. I don't always find that necessary, but if you want to do that, it's perfectly fine. So, now that it's dry and ready to go, woo, look, somebody left me a cookie. It has 3 cookies. That looks nice. I wonder what it could be. Let me break it open. And here come the sprinkles. So, you have your sprinkles, you have your note, you can see how much space is in there. It's a pretty good amount. And you can put sprinkles in there, you can put M&Ms, Nerds, Skittles. If you can find really thin pieces of chocolate, you can put that in there. You know, just really anything you can think of. And then we have the note, and as you can see, like I said, I got lucky and it didn't smudge or anything, but as long as you're careful and test it out, it should work fine for you too. So now you have your note, your surprise sprinkles, and a tasty cookie to have later. That's all.
Okay, so I used parchment paper and a food coloring marker to write the note that I put in my cookie. You don't have to do that. You can use pen and paper to write your note that you put in the cookie, or you don't have to put a note in at all. You can just have it as a piñata cookie with sprinkles. Anything really would work out just fine. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the subscribe button below. We'll have another video on Saturday doing another Valentine's Day decorating themed cookie. So I hope you hit subscribe below, and if you want to be notified when that video is up, hit the bell notification as well. Until next time, bye!